Welcome, pool guys and gals, to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast, where your host, Lauren Broom, will take a splash into many topics in the pool industry to educate all aquatic professionals. Listen in, and you just might be surprised what you'll learn. So let's jump right in.
Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. And on this special roundtable episode, I have a lot of guest speakers on. This is a special episode 32, Tools of the Modern Pool Professional. I'd like to welcome Kevin Embree from Skimmer, our big podcast sponsor. We really appreciate your support of the podcast, Skimmer. Matt Lopez with Riptide Pool Vacuum. Joseph DiAnna Sr. and Joseph DiAnna Jr. from Primate Pool Tools. Thank you as well for being a proud podcast sponsor and continuing education at Primate Pool Tools. And Eric and Jenel Resh with Piranha Pool Products. They've been in the industry a long time. So this is going to be a really good episode to listen to, guys. Learn about all the tools that the modern pool professional right now can utilize to make their lives easier, better, and run your businesses great and professional. So listen in, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did talking to this great group of people. And if you go to one of the trade shows, you'll probably see them there. Look for them. And jump right in and enjoy this episode, guys. And I also want to say thank you to today's sponsors, Skimmer and Primate Pool Tools. Thank you as always. Enjoy the episode, guys.
This is Skimmer, software for the modern pool professional. What can you do with Skimmer? See all your customers on a map, build service routes quickly, and let Skimmer optimize them for you. Access customer information, including contact details and full service history, anytime and anywhere. Customize work orders to track jobs like repairs and filter cleanings. Email your customers when you complete a service. You can include service details and on-site photos. Does your customer need a part? Add it to the shopping list and track it from purchase to installation. Skimmer will even remind you what parts you need for the day, and you can mark them as installed right when you're finished. Skimmer doesn't just store your service history. It helps you get paid. We integrate with QuickBooks Online for fast, easy invoicing. And we've got more billing options coming soon. All that's just the beginning. Go to getskimmer.com to watch our demo video, check out our online tutorials, and see if Skimmer is right for you.
Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. I have a really special episode today. I'm really excited about recording this one with this group of people. We're going to be talking about the tools of the modern pool professional. I'm really excited. It's going to be a really great episode for our listeners out there. So hopefully you guys will learn something really awesome from this group of people. This is a really great group of people we have together here for the pool industry. And I want to go ahead and we're going to do introductions first, so our listeners know who is on our episode today.
I'm Joe DiAnna Sr. with Primate Pool Tools.
I'm Joe DiAnna Jr. with Primate Pool Tools.
Known as the Joes, right? You
Joe,
said?
Yeah.
The Joes from Primate. And our next person on our group is Kevin.
Yeah, I'm Kevin. I'm run marketing at Skimmer. It's pool service software. And we'll talk about that a little more, but glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you for everybody being here. Our next person that's going to introduce himself is Matt with Riptide.
Matt Lopez with Riptide Pool Vacuums. I'm one of the owners here. Happy to be back on the show again, Lauren.
Yes, I just got your one episode I've already released, so listeners can listen into that, and the Primate Pool Tools and the Skimmer podcast episode have all been released. So awesome to have you guys back in return on the podcast show. And then we have Eric and Jenel with Piranha Pool Products. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Eric Resh, founder of Piranha Pool Products, and of course I'm with my wife Jenel.
Awesome. And and we're gonna have you guys on your own episode. We're gonna get you on here, and we're gonna talk in detail about Piranha Pool Products at that time. It'll be all you guys. Awesome. Thank you for being on the show today. So the whole idea with this episode is we're talking about this mindset, right? Of all you marketing together, and this I've seen it at the shows, the tools of the modern pool professional. It's really exciting to kind of take different puzzle pieces in the industry that are different products and kind of show how they can kind of fit together or work together in different ways in the industry. And I love that energy in the industry, because I really think that if we put things together in the industry and work together instead of working against each other, it would make our industry move up and be really awesome. And so this is kind of that example and that mindset that we want everybody to kind of see out there, where you guys are already doing that together at trade shows and just together, on social media and that kind of thing. So that overlap that you guys kind of share, you're not all exactly the same thing, but you have that overlap and that kind of thing. So I just want to let's talk about that mindset a little bit that you guys have been working together on. And I'm going to go ahead and ask the Joes from Primate, what do you feel about that whole mindset and everything?
Well, it's been fantastic for us. I mean, first of all, just to let everybody know, we have friendships in addition to, business association. Dave and Matt have been great mentors, and Jenel has, been very kind to us, and as far as mentoring us, on the phone and so forth and communicating. And Kevin, I can't say enough about Kevin. Kevin's like the maestro, getting us together and, kind of conducting our products out into the pool industry. So, that's a great thing to have a camaraderie like that with, other industry professionals that are selling products, even if, with all competition and so forth out there. So, and then of course the perception of our products. And I know personally how hard every one of these other manufacturers have worked to perfect their products. I would hope that pool pros could appreciate how much work goes into that. So we all work very hard to get our product where we wanted it, and that in turn, gives it all the characteristics and value for all the pool pros out there. And I was just reflecting, how the challenges that are happening right now in the pool industry, because I'm a 32-year professional and we continue to run our commercial pool maintenance company. So on the big view of it, there's a lot of challenges for pool professionals out there, and they really need to sharpen their skills, as you say, improve the industry, raise your products. But when it comes down to, and then when it comes to actually doing your job, you need the tools of a modern pool professional to, your first responsibility is to make your company operate more efficiently and profitably. And so that's where all of our tools come in, I think. And it's exciting to get the reaction that we've got for, we're getting great reaction, from our customers and so forth. So it's just a great thing that Kevin has brought together. And, we're looking forward to it. It's very positive, for us, kind of the new kids on the block, probably compared to you guys, the other manufacturers here. And it's been, we're grateful for the goodwill and the, mentorship of the others in that group. Yeah.
It's wonderful to see. It's almost like we're a little family in this panel right now. That's what I'm getting from you guys, the feel at least. And that's nice. The camaraderie and the friendships are an important part too out of this. I think that people don't often think about. You can think about the business side, and yeah, it helps to kind of work together, but at the same time, you're forging those friendships behind the scenes as well. So that's awesome. Thank you, the Joes from Primate.
Joseph has anything? Nope. Good.
So I'm gonna
You just
I'm gonna-
took our entire
Just took up all the time.
I'm going to pose the same question for Kevin about the whole mindset that we're kind of talking about in this episode.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm the new person in the group. I joined Skimmer about 1.5 years ago. My experience is I worked for eBay a long time ago, back in the day. And I worked for another, we call SaaS platform company called VRBO. Verbo. It was called HomeAway when I worked there, but now they call it VRBO. So I'm really a technology type guy, but I've always had a problem. I always care about what I work for, who I work for, and what we do. I learned a really important lesson when I worked for eBay. So when I worked for eBay, I thought, oh, we just have an auction site, right? And people buy and sell things. And then we had a user conference, and we went to that first user conference ever in the history of the company. And I was walking around, I had my eBay staff shirt on, and a woman walked up to me and hugged me. She didn't even introduce herself. She just hugged me. And she hugged me a little bit longer than normal hug of someone you don't know. And then she pulled away from me and she looked me in the eyes and she said, "You changed my life. You just don't work at a technology company. You changed my life, my kids' life, and their kids' life. Let me tell you why." And she started to describe, I have a high school education, but on eBay, no one knows that. No one can judge me for that. As long as I sell things and I deliver them in a very professional way, I can do anything I want to do. And she was one of our most successful sellers on eBay. And I thought, when I left that conference, I thought, wow, that is not, this isn't just technology. This isn't just fun and games, buying and selling. It is changing people's lives. And when you look at things like that, you can get really excited about what you do. Well, when Pete Freeland and Jack Nelson approached me about 1.5 years ago and said, "Hey, we're looking at this pool service software company," I thought, why? What's pool service software? Why would you get involved in the pool service industry? And he said, just take a look at it. It's actually pretty interesting. And so when I dug into it, after about a week, I was really excited about it. And so the first thing I did was listen to all the podcasts. And so I heard Eric and Jenel from Piranha, and I heard the Joes at Primate, and Dave and Matt at Riptide, across all these different podcasts. But one thing really resonated with me was they sounded like real, authentic people. And I thought, is this the way this can't be right? These guys are innovators, right? They're building really tools. And, I just listened to more and more of the podcast. And what I realized is everyone was on the podcast. People are hardworking, amazing people. And over the last 9 months, I've been traveling the Sun Belt and visiting our customers and going out on their routes and working them with them. And they're all the same. They're amazing, hardworking, incredible. But the other thing I noticed was, at the end of the day, I was completely exhausted and had no energy at all to think about, if I was running that company, I would no way be able to think about the strategy and all the overhead, the administrative things. I just wanted to take a nap, right? And then the other thing I realized is an aluminum pole gets really heavy at the end of the day. And if you have a crappy net, your life sucks. After about that 6th pull, you're like, what am I doing with my life? Right. And so I started, as I listened to all these podcasts, I'm like, you ever heard of a carbon fiber pole? Because I'm like, it's feeling twice as heavy at the end of the day. And if I went out with someone and they didn't have a Piranha net, I'd say, have you ever heard of Piranha nets? And they're like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know if they're that much better. I'm like, yeah, they're a lot better. I work them all the time with other customers. It's not a little better, it's a lot better. And then you'd get in, I'd go out with a customer and they'd be using the customer's vacuum. They just attach it to the aluminum pole and whatever the customer's vacuum was. I was like, you've heard of Riptide, right? Because this is ridiculous. You're wasting your time. And I'd already built rapport with them. So, And they were like, yeah, but is it that much better? And I would say, yeah, it's 10 times better. All of those tools are 10 times better. And I found myself not just, engaging the customer on how they use Skimmer and how they use the Skimmer app, but trying to help them understand, hey, we do the same thing that all these other tools do. We give you lift. We save you energy. We make you more efficient. We make you more productive, which ultimately will make you more profitable. And that last one they listen to. They're willing to waste their energy, and because they don't think of it that way, because they're just using the tools they're used to. And so when we thought of the tools of modern pool professionals, when I ran into the Joes and I ran into Dave and Matt, and I haven't run into Eric and Jenel yet at the trade shows, but I'm looking forward to it. But when I ran into this group, or I listened to them on podcasts, or I talked to Jenel on the phone, they all say the same things. And it really came out of, I wanted to make my life better. I wanted to have better tools that I was using running a pool service business. And that's what we're trying to accomplish with this group. Is we're not just trying to sell our tools. We're trying to sell a better life. We're trying to sell a better business. We're trying to sell a more profitable future for our customers. And when we say that, when you say you build a better net, okay, that's cool. When you say you a better vacuum, and you build a better carbon fiber pole, whatever. But when you tell them, I'm going to give you a better life, the opportunity to have a better life and a better business and make more money, they start to listen. And so when we get together and that message really comes together across different channels, you can change those people's lives. You can really get the message out a lot stronger. And that's what I learned at eBay is when you really know what the ultimate outcome is to really help someone see something they like. When I meet with someone and say, well, I'm just a one polar. And I'm like, with Skimmer, you could have several techs. Yeah, I don't think I can manage some techs, right? And then I check, and then I try to convince them you can, and I show them how they can do it. And then I call them back, 4 months later, and they're like, I have 2 techs now, Kevin. You're right. It's simple. I can manage these guys with Skimmer, right? And that's the same with all of our tools. Is you can do so much more and accomplish so much more in a day, and even manage more people in your business when you're using the right tools. And so that's what I love about all of these people. I feel like I'm definitely the new person in the group. Eric and Jenel have been in this business for over 20 years. I mean, how many years? 25 years. So, I kind of see them as when I think of a net, when you see other tools, you go, there's a better tool. When I see someone using a different net than Piranha, I'm like, what are you doing? Right. And they're like, well, I've heard about Piranha. I'm like, you're hired, Kevin. You need to order one. This is crazy. I'm going to send you one. And so, so I do that with a lot of our tools. I haven't done that with Piranha yet. Jenel and I are getting together on that, but I do that with Primate and I do that with Riptide. We give those away to our customers that aren't using them, or I introduce them to them, and they usually end up calling those guys back and ordering more. It's just like everything in life. Once you try it, you realize, wow, something is, like a pole is half the weight, 10 times the strength, right? A Riptide vacuum, 10 times stronger and more powerful and easier to use than other brands out there, right? And then the Piranha net is really the no-brainer in the industry. It is the best net in the industry, hands down. But when you put them all together, you don't get a little bit more lift, you get exponential lift, right? And that's what we're trying to say is, yeah, Piranha nets, you got to use a Piranha net, right? Carbon fiber pole from Primate, amazing, save you energy, right? Riptide, Skimmer, but when you use them all together, it's exponential to your business.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to get across. And I'm excited to be here. I'm very proud to be with this group. I see you guys as celebrities because I've watched you and listened to you on podcasts. And I've had the pleasure of meeting several of them and others at trade shows. And I actually have a very strong passion for not only the business and this industry now, but also for the people and our customers. We have over 3,200 customers now using Skimmer, which is almost 14,000 pool professionals using our app every day. But what really gets the job done are these guys, these other tools, right?
The physical part.
The work done. With Skimmer, they're recording it, right? And making sure they bill for everything that they do. And that's the exciting part. And I'm honored to be here. And thanks for having us, Lauren. And I really appreciate you getting us together, because I think when people start to really think about these brands, they'll really see that we are true innovators, and we continue to innovate the products. They do not stay the same. That's one thing, I won't take anybody's thunder away, but one thing, when I met Dave and Matt at Riptide, they started explaining the Riptide to me, and they said, well, what we noticed a few years in is that this didn't really work right. So we changed them all. So we changed that, and we redesigned it. And I thought, yeah, well, that's what you do. And then Dave said, and then we had several hundred in the warehouse, and we changed those out as well. We were never going to send out another Riptide with that part. And I thought, that's different. Most companies don't do that. They'll sell out their inventory, right? Mm-hmm. And but he was like, no. I said, why do you do that? Why don't you just sell out your inventory and send out the new ones when you get the new ones? And Dave and Matt said, because Kevin, it's sitting on the back of a truck, and that's our marketing, that's our advertising. And when someone walks up to it and touches it and looks at it and asks a question, I want it to be the best version of the Riptide. That's not normal, right? And all of these guys are like that. The Joes at Primate and Eric and Jenel, they're all like that, is they want to send out the best product possible at all times. And, you walk around, if you go to enough trade shows, you realize that's not happening across a lot of companies. And so we're really proud at Skimmer to be associated with this group. And we're honored that they are part of this co-marketing group, because I think the message, really getting our message out to the audience, the pool and spa, pool service and repair audience, is really important. And we're really starting to get a huge amount of momentum, but we've only just begun. So we're really excited.
And it's been so fun hearing what you had to say, Kevin, and then what the Joes at Primate said. It's like, I've gotten this overall picture of, they think of it as like family friendships here that have been forged while working together in the business. And then the whole business model of making things the best that they can be, like you said about the Riptide and their inventory. So all of that is like so awesome to hear so far. And then he literally wants to run into you guys at the pool show, Piranha. You gotta watch out for Kevin. He's gonna run into you at the pool show. Sorry, had to make a joke there.
Oh, I will find them. I love these guys. I'm going to reiterate one thing that Joe Senior said is it really does start to feel like a family. Like when I see the Riptide guy, I haven't seen the Reshes at any shows yet because they're so popular. They don't even have to go to the shows anymore. I mean, that's how huge, right? It's like we walk around and everyone's like, does this work with the Piranha net? And we're like, yeah, it works with Piranha. It's like they're the standard. And so they're celebrities now. They don't even show up at the shows. They're huge. But I look forward to seeing them at the next one. But we are definitely becoming like a family, because when I meet them, when your mindset's the same, when you're thinking about, we're providing the best possible product we can, and then really changing people's businesses or helping them change their business, you get along, right? I mean, when you think the same way, when
absolutely,
you meet people, you feel like we've been friends for years, right? And what it is we have the same mindset as well. All of us on this podcast is we truly do want to help people, because at the end of the day, we know that drives our business. Right.
And I think all collectively, think that we all really care about our customer, whether it's the, distributor or the end user. We really care. I know I can feel that when I talk to each of you, is that's the bottom line for us, is we care about the customer.
And I've gotten that just from knowing a lot of you and interviewing you guys and that kind of thing. Is what I get with the feel of this group is what Kevin was already saying, is you care about the customers, you care about making innovations and your products to make it better for your customers, to do their jobs better, do it easier, make more money, because ultimately that's what matters as well. I love the ergonomic part, no matter what. You can't take the OSHA trainer out of me. So ergonomics is that big word of lifting things properly, or what you're doing all day. And so you're thinking about the professional that's using the tool and making it better for them in such a way that it's going to be better at the end of the day when they go home to their families as well. Or, I mean, route management makes it easier. The vacuum, the innovation with the getting it off on and off the vehicle, the pole being lighter, your Piranha net working better and lasting longer with a pole like Primate Pool Tools pole, all of that works together to make it better for people. And I think that's what this group is all about, is making it better for their customers, but really your customers, which are the pool professionals that will be listening to the podcast. So that's really what we wanted to highlight here. And it's awesome to have this great group of people here that are really passionate about that. And that's kind of why I really wanted to do this podcast episode, because that's really my premise behind the podcast as well, is I do education and I really care about educating everybody out there to keep their pools healthy and safe. And then now I'm also pushing that whole training for the professional workplace health and safety for the person who's cleaning the pool. You guys matter in the industry, not just the people that swim in the pool. So I have that same passion as you guys. So when I think of my podcast, people ask about, let's talk about pools. And in its own way, it's an extension of education to the pool professional. And so having groups of people like you on here, because you're the specialist that I'm talking to that works with these people in different ways with different products. And we really want to highlight this for the listeners to make sure that they understand that you're not just some company trying to sell them something, that you guys are the companies out there that actually are caring about their customers and the product you're selling them. Because yes, I was thinking the same thing when Riptide could have just left that inventory there. And that's a very different premise than a lot of companies where, no, we're going to fix all of it because we made this innovation. It makes it better. And it's going to cost us more money to fix everything in the inventory. And I'm sure you've all done your fair share of modifying things and doing that with each of the products here. It's just, Kevin brought up that one example that was just recent. So, and you guys can throw in any examples too, but I just love having this group here. Sorry, I took over a little bit more than I wanted to, and I'll cut that part out.
Oh, no problem at all.
Well, I'll cut part of it out.
Sorry for the quick intermission today, but I wanted to say thank you to our other awesome podcast sponsor, Primate Pool Tools, and continuing education through the podcast today. Primate poles are made in the USA and built from aerospace-grade carbon fiber, which offers superior strength and performance. They have options for any level of pool maintenance with multiple models to choose from, as well as an extension system that can extend the reach of any pool pole up to 40 feet. Grab yours today and cut through the water with ease. Please visit primatepooltools.net for more info about their products. And use the promo code Let's Talk Pools for $20 off your order at checkout. So check them out, guys, and enjoy the rest of this podcast episode.
Lauren, one thing I wanted to say that I noticed, just sort of being an outsider to the industry, is the aesthetic of these products, how they look, not just the quality and how they help you do your business better and your job better, but they're beautiful.
You
They're
look more
amazing.
professional.
Yeah,
You have a Riptide on the back of your truck, and you've got your Piranha nets, which don't look like, the cheesy brushes or the cheesy leaf rakes that you see, and you have a Primate pole. You look better. And I tell people this is like, if you hire somebody to work on your house and they show up and their tools is a rock with a stick wrapped around the end of a stick, and that's their hammer, you're not really inspiring confidence to your customer that you're going to do a good job. But if you show up and your tools look good, you're inspiring that confidence because you've invested in yourself, and that's going to resonate with your customers. They notice these things. They see these things because they're going to go out and they're going to see, well, it's a carbon fiber pole. Everybody knows what carbon fiber is. They know it's not cheap. Or your nets. The Piranha nets look much better than a net you could buy at, Home Depot. Riptide, of course, no, homeowners aren't buying that. You just look much more professional when you roll into your customer's backyard with the proper tools.
Totally agree with that. I mean, that professional ability that it looks, it's the tools, it's the education, it's the technology that they're going to use to be able to communicate with their customers better. It's all these things. And, I think about it like when I have my air conditioner fits and I have the company that comes in where the guy leans over and he has his shirt up and his butt crack showing. I'm like, okay, he's not looking professional here. And I'll probably cut that part out. But
I would leave it.
But it's what you look like. It's the tools you carry, how you carry them, what you're using, all of this. And if we want to look as a profession, and this is the listeners listening, we really want the pool industry to be professionalized and be professional like any other trade out there, like electricians and plumbers. And so it's not just the education side or apprenticeships and all that other stuff that we're hearing and seeing more, but it's also how they make themselves appear out when they're out and about. You got to look professional. It's what you're wearing, how you carry yourself, how you talk to people, what you're using. All that matters. And
Absolutely.
I think that's a good conversation with part of this.
And I left Skimmer off of the end of that looking professional part because, now you show up in the backyard, you've got your Piranha nets, you've got your Riptide, you got your Primate pool, and then you're taking a picture of the pool when you leave, and their customer's getting an email from Skimmer, and boom, you're way more professional than 95% of the other pool guys in your area.
Right. I mean, what would you prefer? I used to see business cards stuck in Skimmer baskets, sticking up with the chemical readings on it. Now you look professional where you can send this email with all their test results and what you did and everything. So, I mean, the software isn't like directly seen, but it's seen by the customer at the end. And I worked in grocery store for 4 years. The first person they see and the last person they see is kind of what the customer does remember sometimes. You go to the meat department and all the departments in the middle, and you kind of forget if that person was rude to you, but that cashier checking you out and bagging your groceries and taking the groceries out, that's the last person they see, and you represent your company. So it's a great conversation. That could almost be another podcast episode. So getting back, I'm going to roll us back here, back into that mindset question, because Matt, with Riptide, I wanted you to kind of answer that on your end where it comes to Riptide with the whole mindset and you guys working together, modern pool professionals.
So, when Kevin approached me with the idea, I was very excited. And originally it was just us, Skimmer, and Primate. And, I really liked the Joes. I really liked Kevin. I really felt that we're all like-minded companies that, we have a product. All of us have a product, but we're customer service oriented first. If you have a problem, I know that the Joes will take care of you. I've heard it from other customers that use Piranha nets and brushes. Everybody here is for the customer, for the industry. And that's something that is core to my belief. When we started the company in 2016 or 17, I don't remember, time flies. I wasn't going to have one of these companies where you just hated to deal with that company, because I personally hate it. Anytime that I buy something and it breaks and you have to go through that experience of dealing with it, I just rather throw it away, because it's just not worth the headache or the hassle. And that seems where the world's going with everything, unfortunately. So it's great to see companies like Piranha and Primate and Skimmer too, that all stand behind their products, because that's really, what it's about. You're buying, a pool guy coming into the industry, you know, if a guy's coming in his early 20s or whatever, he could be a customer of yours for the next 40 years potentially, and really grow his business with your business. So you have to take care of these guys. One, because it's the right thing to do, but two, I mean, it just feels good. It feels good when you take care of your customers. So it's great to work, you know, with all these companies. And two, they all create efficiencies. Riptide, of course, you know, creates efficiencies. We did a whole episode on that. We don't have to talk about that. Primate does too. I mean, you're holding a pole all day long. You're skimming the nets. Everybody hates skimming, right? Nobody enjoys skimming a pool. But you don't want to hold an aluminum pole all day. You want something lightweight, you know, the brushes and the
I did want to
nets.
interrupt for a minute.
Yeah.
I actually do enjoy skimming a pool. When I had 4 toddlers and 2 dogs and everything was going crazy in my house, skimming a pool, it's like maybe saved my life. It was my meditation.
It's your little zen zone.
Now, that said, I had an aluminum pole and probably the worst net you can imagine. So I would have had a much better experience. If someone would have walked into my backyard when I had those 4 toddlers and with a Piranha net and a carbon fiber pole from Primate, I would have said, where do I get those? I need that. So,
well, I could imagine skimming with getting away to skim the pool from 4 toddlers.
oh, it's amazing.
That 4 toddlers at once. Wow. That's a tough one. I think I might want to escape to skim the pool too, Kevin.
Well, when my pool guy would come into the backyard, I would say, hey, don't skim the pool. I do that. He's like, he'd look at me funny, and I was like, no, it's I need it.
Maybe the name of your company is
Keeps me safe.
So we've got Eric and Jenel Resh with Piranha Pool Products, and I'm going to let you guys are going to answer the same question, and you're my last one on the panel to answer this question on that whole mindset of marketing together and the tools of the modern pool professionals. So tell us what it means to you and what it means to be working with these great companies here.
Well, we set out to make better tools and make better products, just like everyone else on this panel. And I think that's probably something that we have most in common. Obviously, all in the pool industry and all care about our customers, but I think really we all want to improve the industry, and there's a sincere desire to do it. You know, not just here to sell product to people and try and make money, but actually to make the industry better and really kind of have the pride that we're putting something out there that other people would like. I hear nothing but compliments about the other manufacturers here on the panel tonight or today. And that's kind of the way it should be, that we're all really putting out something that we believe in. And Jenel and I can certainly identify with Matt and Dave. We've halted production and faced the fact that maybe 1,000 or so items that we created and we have in inventory are never going to go to the market because we didn't like the final way that they came out. Maybe had a flaw, maybe had something we didn't think about or didn't know about until it was put out into the market and people used it. And it's interesting because
I feel your pain.
Yeah, it hurts. but I know exactly where you're at on that though, Matt. And Jenel, we don't, and you too, and none of us, we don't want to put things out there that now are going to cause problems for people and frustrate them. But we know the other side of the industry as well. What's it like to be out there and have a product fail? It's so frustrating.
Yeah, we came out of the service side back from the late 80s and the 90s. And that was, where he wanted to become innovative with the tools because there really wasn't anything innovative out there at that time. So, that's how we set out on this. But anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Well, it's okay. I'll let you slide that time.
Okay.
So, but in the meantime, though, I think that's our goal. We want to make things better. And so if I see a flaw in my own product, I have to come into the industry, just like all of us, and meet people at trade shows. And I have to be able to say, you know what, I'm doing my absolute best. That if I hear there's a problem, and I realize that maybe other people are having a problem with one of our products, I've got to stop everything and make sure it gets fixed, because people are relying on us to produce the best products that we can make, because this is how we make our living with tools. Even with the Skimmer app, this is how we all support ourselves. So it has to be the best that we possibly can put out there. And I think that's kind of maybe like one of the overall themes of this podcast, that we're really trying to advance the industry so we can all do better at it. And I have to make a comment too. We've been in this industry since
88.
Yeah, 88. And it's full of very down-to-earth, honest people. And that's one of the things that I love about it too. And in that sense, that that kind of camaraderie that we have with our customers, that we can have with other friends who are manufacturers, even if we're making competing products, the fact that we can still be friends. We make polls and the Joes make polls, but you know what? We're all doing the same thing. We're trying to make a better industry here. And so we might as well work together and enjoy each other, because we're all trying to do the same thing.
And we're all innovators.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Compliment to you.
And just everybody working together instead of against each other. And that's great. I've always had that feeling in most of the industry. There's always that few outliers out there, but the majority of the pool industry, I mean, I don't dread going to the trade shows. You know, I love going to the trade shows. I almost like this coming weekend. I'm excited about it. And it's like when I was a kid and it was Christmas time, and Christmas would take forever to get here, because I love seeing all the people in the trade show. The educational classes are great. I'm excited about that, but I get more excited about walking the trade show and seeing faces that I've seen for 15 years since I started going to the Orlando show, at least down here. So I know I've seen Matt at some point at the trade show, probably 2 years ago, when it was hopping busy over there for you guys at Riptide.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. The show was in February, and we're in March today, that we're recording this in March of 2022. And that trade show was right before COVID started. So
yeah, it was one of the last ones that we did.
Yeah. And I know you guys weren't at the show last year.
Correct. So we're excited to be back.
Yeah. The excitement of seeing and having all of you at a trade show together with this kind of premise of you're all different and different products, but putting it together as the tools of the modern pool professional is just awesome, you know? And I think we have great energy here and at the trade shows. And I think the industry is really going to eat it up after the last 2 years that we've had. You know, I really think they're going to enjoy hearing you guys and really hearing how you guys are working together. You've worked through the last 2 years to get where you're at, to continue to make their essential service that it was during COVID to be the best that it can be with the tools that you all provide to the pool professional. So my last question that we'll go around with is, so the Joes with Primate Pool Tools, how do you feel that your tool has changed people's lives?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we get feedback all the time. That's actually the best part about getting out there at the trade shows, just hearing it firsthand from users, whether it's, you know, a year in or a few years in. But I think the biggest difference people feel is performance right away. And a lot of the benefits, you know, we weren't even expecting really that people have told us. You know, the first thing we usually hear is, wow, it's half the weight. This is crazy. I can't believe this is as strong as it is at the weight. You know, the strength to weight ratio is like jarring. But what I hear a lot and what makes me feel the best is people that had elbow injuries and like they have, you know, a number of problems from being out there and doing the laborious job that comes with pool service. And, you know, you get all kinds of battle scars and things along the way. And, you know, we have hurt shoulders, you know, people have had thumb surgeries or things that they can feel at the end of the day after working out there for 8 to 10 hours. And a lot of those guys say, I don't feel worn and I can legitimately feel less wear and tear at the end of the day. So I think that's the biggest thing that I try and tell people when they ask, why is this worth it? Like, what's the value? And I think less wear and tear on the worker is just something you need to prioritize if you're going to be, a lifetime pool guy. And it's a great career to be in. You can make a lot of money, but the reality is it's really hard on your body. And, whatever you can reach for to make your job easier there, I think is well worth the investment. So.
Totally agree.
This morning we were talking about, it's, it's a never ending journey, marketing. New people are finding out about your product all the time, and you think you've got your bases covered, but there's always new territory. So we're hearing, I'm hearing every day on the phone, very new users, they're excited, and game changer, all kinds of, good positive feedback, compliments. And the other part for us is we used our product in our company for 2 years before we let it out, because I'm a pool pro. I'm not gonna let it something out there that it's not going to stand up. It's just a matter of principle and pride or whatever. But so the people that are calling back in after 3 years or whatever and saying, you how long have you had your pool? Oh, 3 years. Yeah, I've had the pool for 3 years. I go, great. So we know there's longevity there, and it's just kind of going back what we were talking about earlier is the appearance of having good tools, and I can confirm what Matt was saying earlier is that we started to get that kind of feedback real early, in that the pool professional feels, you feel better when you use better tools. And and then talking about what Kevin was talking, what brought up is really significant, is how worn out you could be at the end of the day, and having all these things play in, especially Skimmer. We're using Skimmer in our company, and that is that's a really tough thing for a pool pro to go home after the end of the day. You're wiped out, and then you've got to do these, you got to do work orders. You've got to do your financials. So, I mean, just, to answer the question, just that positive feedback is, so gratifying. And I think we all have that in common.
That's awesome.
That's the answer.
Yeah. So how do you feel, Kevin, that Skimmer has changed people's lives?
Well, I know how it has, because they tell us constantly. Like I said, I've been traveling the country for 9 months visiting with them. And, I send out an email to people in an area that I'm going to go to and say, hey, do you want to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Or you just have time for coffee? If you have time for 2 minutes, I'd love to meet you and just find out what you like about Skimmer and how we can make it better. And I get overwhelmed with the responses, and people want to meet me all over and take a picture with the Skimmer mobile. But what they tell me is that it's been a game changer, not only for their business, but for their life. If I usually meet the most successful, so listen up out there, if you're married and you have a partner who's not involved in your business, the most successful pool service and repair companies that I run into and I meet is usually a husband and a wife. And the wife's running the back end of the business and managing all the numbers and making sure the operations are running smooth. And the husband is usually part of the business and managing the techs and everything that's happening out in the field, usually, not always. But what I find is that the wife will usually say, hey, thank you for giving my husband back. And at first that would take me back. I would go, what do you mean? She's like, oh, I never saw him before we started using Skimmer. Like, what? She's like, oh yeah, as soon as he got home, he'd take a nap, he'd get up, we'd have dinner, and then he'd be off planning his routes for the next day, making sure we were billing for everything that he and his team were doing. And I thought, wow, I never really thought about that, right? And not just the work you're doing all day, which can be backbreaking and really wear you out, but you still have work to do when you're using paper, when you're using route sheets, right? And you've got to make sure they're all done for the next day and that you get them to your team, right? If you're at the end of you're servicing someone's pool, you're filling out a door hanger, a paper door hanger, right? You put a door hanger on my door when I had 4 kids and 2 dogs, that was not going to be there within a few minutes. With a few moments after you left our driveway, that became a toy, probably a paper airplane. I mean, people would come to my door all the time and go, "Hey, are you going to pay me?" And I'm like, "You haven't sent me an invoice. Like, I put it on your door." I'm like, "Are you serious? Have you seen this house? It's great." No, you need to knock on the door and give it to me. But this is what they deal with, right? I mean, even when you do the work and you remember to give the customer an invoice, a physical invoice, they're not going to pay it because you're sticking it on a doorknob. That's old school. And that's the way the industry used to work. And some people, a lot of people still do. And that's what makes Skimmer different is it enables you to put everything into the app, make sure that you're doing everything or that your techs are doing everything you want them to do to service that customer in a very professional way. But once you do that and you put those readings and dosages into Skimmer, it ensures that you bill for that. You don't have to remember at the end of the day when you're exhausted. You don't have to go, okay, what did I do today? What parts did I install? What do I need to purchase for the next day, for the next week? You've already put it into Skimmer. It knows, right? You just get up the next morning, it tells your techs what to do and it tells you what you need to do. Right. And then if someone on the back end and the back office is looking at, they can see everything that's happening. They can see as people are finishing their routes or as they complete the routes, and they can see everything that needs to be invoiced, right? And be able to do that through Skimmer. The most exciting part, I think, with Skimmer is some people think we're a startup because we really just started doing marketing in the last year, really up the marketing a lot. But it's been around for 6 years. Our founder, Ron, actually started talking to his pool service professional, and he was like, this paper door hangers, and like, how do you manage your stuff? Like, there's a lot of logistics. And the guy was like, yeah, I mean, this is how we do it. He's like, But his pool service guy was like, you're a software guy, like, could you come up with a way to do it? And at first, Ron was like, that's pretty complicated to do all that. It's not as simple as you think, just to create an app around it. And as Ron thought about it, he realized just how complicated it was and the logistics of thinking about, it's not just about being able to optimize a route. Anyone can do that. But to be able to go to an app and say, hey, Joe Jr. is not feeling well today. The rest of us have to pick up his routes, or, let's just give his routes to Kevin, or let's spread them across. When you can do that in 2 seconds with the Skimmer app, and just press and hold and say, give that to Kevin, give that to Matt, give that to Jenel, give that to Eric. And you're done in moments and you're back focused on what you need to do. Imagine trying to do that with a paper route sheets when someone calls in sick and everyone's already out in the field.
Now, where were you?
Yeah, where were you, Kevin?
I know, right? It's crazy.
Excited to get QuickBooks.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a life changer. And you're just making me want to go buy a pool route right now. So
Right?
He said he has great excitement, so he's getting you to want to start over again.
Well, here's the key. I said, a lot of people think of us as a startup. We've been around for 6 years. When Ron started getting busy, he asked his brother to join the company and do customer support. Something Matt brought up is that's one thing that Ron said, we're going to have outstanding customer support. When somebody calls and somebody emails, we're going to answer them quick. You have to assume that there's someone out in the field and it's urgent, and they're at someone's house and they need to get that fixed and get on to the next route stop. Right. And that's the way we think of every call and every email coming in, that it's urgent. The last thing, as far as what do we really add, is, you can go to our website at getskimmer.com and read all the features, right? It's sort of like I love going to Piranha's website and watching the videos of Eric talk about all the different nets. He's sitting at a table and he's talking about them. And it reminds me of the Joes and Matt at the trade shows. Is he doesn't say, yeah, okay, so I got this net and here's what it does, and it holds this amount, and that's cool. And then he goes to the next net. he talks about those nets like they're his children. They're like, okay, as you can see, this, you see what
My
the
children
edge
are
here?
jealous,
And he
but
starts
it's funny
describing it,
about
and it's like, oh, wow, this is actually interesting to watch someone talk about a net. You know, I mean, think about that. You watch someone for 20 minutes talk about their net. No one was going to do
I'm gonna
that.
have to watch those videos.
If you watch Eric do it, though, you can tell he cares. And that's what I've seen live with a Primate polls, and what I've seen live with Dave and Matt with Riptide is that's how they talk to people, right? And we do the same thing. We try to polish the edges and do those things that most people won't do. And they make all the difference. You know, in life, it's not making a better net that makes a difference, right? It's the 2 millimeters of effort you put in afterwards to make it last, to make it stronger, to make it, it's those things that most people don't even notice. And then when I watch Eric's videos, I realize that's a 2 millimeter company. They're doing 2 millimeters more than everyone else, and it makes all the difference. It makes it the best net in the industry. It doesn't make it a little better.
I think you can say that about all the products that are represented here, though.
Yeah.
I think every
Yes.
one of us are trying to do the same thing, really try and just
Yeah.
push it as far as we can. And I think it's for the betterment of everybody. And it's once
Yeah.
you're intrigued by your product and your service, I mean, and you give it your all, that's when you really, really see the stuff come together. So I know that you guys are all doing that.
And that's the exciting thing. You know, I'll finish up. The exciting thing for Skimmer is, you know, when I look at Piranha nets and all the iterations you've gone through, when I look at Primate, same thing, they've iterated that product. And Riptide, when I hear Dave and Matt talk about, oh, we've changed all these things. This used to be like this and used to be like that. We're doing the same thing at Skimmer. You know, the other day I ran some stats, and to date, there's been over 20 million route stops completed in Skimmer.
Wow.
Over 90 million readings and dosages have been entered into Skimmer.
That's crazy.
That's
Isn't
crazy.
that crazy? And over almost 2 million work orders have been completed using Skimmer, right? And so at the end of the day, it's about enabling someone to do something they've already done, using an app that has a beautiful look and ease of use and a simplicity to where they don't even need training, right? Some of the larger companies that join us, we've had several companies join us recently. Whether you're a one pooler and have 10 pools or 15 pools or 50 pools, or whether you're a large service company that has 1,500 to 2,000 pools a week that you service, we have all those customers. Skimmer just works the same no matter what size you are. But the exciting part is the large companies will say, hey, well, do you guys provide any training for our techs? And I always say, because I meet with a lot of those companies in person, I'll say, you don't need training. That's how easy it is. That's why so many people use it. We do have over 75 videos on the website that are actually amazing, and we'll actually explain a lot of things about Skimmer, but it's actually pretty self-explanatory to the techs. Once you just give them a 5-minute overview of how this works and what you want them to do with it. They don't have to do it in a certain order. They can do it the way you want to do it, right? You can you can customize your checklists. You can customize your readings and dosages, everything the way you do it in your business. And that's why it works. We give, I always tell everyone in this group, when I go around and meet people, the thing that really hits me, there's a word, in marketing, you always look for those phrases that resonate with people, right? Like, what is that phrase when you say, oh, this is the best net ever? Oh, this carbon fiber pulls half the weight, 10 times the strength, right? And like, that's the way I think, because I don't know their products as well as they do. Or the Riptide, it's 10 times better as far as suction, and they have these different nets or bags and they start explaining it to me, and I don't really get it, but I do get one thing when I'm out there meeting with customers and working their routes. The word freedom always rings true for every person I meet. They say that word to me during whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or if I'm out on a route, the word freedom comes up. And that freedom is why they're in the business. They want the freedom to set their own hours, to determine who they work for and who they do not work for. We go out, and sometimes I'll be in the backyard and someone will come out, and then we'll leave and we'll drive away. And the guy says, I'm going to have to fire that customer. She just doesn't treat me right. She doesn't treat my techs right. I've replaced the tech several times, and now I do it personally. And now I see she just doesn't treat people right. And so I'm going to fire that customer. And I thought, that's amazing, right? I mean, you can control who you work for, right? And who works for you. And that freedom of not only the freedom to do it the way you want to do it, use the tools you want to use, and work for who you want to work for, those people attract the most of the customers. They can't even get the text today. The labor market is so tight. Customers are calling them constantly, and they can't even, it's like having a doctor that's not taking any more, patients. It's like, no, we're full right now. Sorry. Right. And everyone's just really in demand. And that's the exciting thing is when you make the tools like all of this group does. And I'm really proud of Skimmer. I didn't create Skimmer, but I'm definitely a part of helping Skimmer grow. And I'm very proud to do that because I know it does make a difference. And the word I would say for Skimmer is similar to what Joe Sr. said, which is the word they use most often is game changer, right? You not only made me more efficient, you make me more productive, you also make me more profitable. And then the last thing they say is you gave me my life back. And that's the coolest part. We're all in business, as Eric said, to make money and support ourselves. But when you do that and people say you're changing my life, I pay you, and I pay you a premium to use your product, but you're changing my life. That makes, when you see Eric talking about the edges of the net and what they did to make sure it didn't wear when you scrape it, and he's talking through it. That's it, right? That's the difference is.
You know why that is, Kevin? Because we put our whole lives into these businesses.
I know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And so when there's an improvement, it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's the real honor and I know Joe Jr. mentioned this, and you have too. That's the real honor in the whole thing is somebody comes and says, you actually made my life better because you fixed a problem or my hands don't hurt. Or I like the feature I heard you talking about in another setting where you can add somebody to another text route, and now you have the quickest way to hit them all. That just makes people's lives better. Because think of how many hours we spend working. That's kind of a central feature of a lot of our lives, And so if we can get that kind of feedback, it just makes it all more meaningful for us and makes us. I know all of us want to try harder at what we're doing.
Yeah.
I have to throw in when you use the word freedom, I was thinking and seeing Mel Gibson from Braveheart going, freedom.
Yeah.
And he's taken, and to get back to the lunch thing, he's taken me out to lunch at a little mom and pop place here. And
Wait, Mel Gibson took you out to lunch?
No, I wish.
Oh, okay.
That'd be great. Don't tell my husband I said that. But he's taking me out to lunch. And then that whole mentality, like you guys think of your products like you would take care of your children or they're all your children. And even when I worked as a health inspector and I was inspecting public swimming pools, I think that even in that type of position, I'm thinking in the same way as what he was saying. Every pool, I had 400 swimming pools in that county, and I thought of them as my children. When I inspected them, I was going to do 120%, not 75%, and do the best job I could, and also work with the pool professionals to, if I had to close it, how can we get it reopened so it's not as impactful? But I thought of each pool and each spa and hot tub as a child that when I went home, I still thought about them, so it wasn't a product, but it was a product of the job that I had to do for 17 years. And so it's the same philosophy that you guys do in your businesses is taking care of your products in that way, like you would take care of your children, means it's going to be a great product to your customers. So that really hit home. And then I just had to throw in the Mel Gibson thing because it was funny.
Oh, that's a great quote.
It's
funny you say that. I met with a customer in Scottsdale and I said, well, how many pools do you service a week? And he said, we don't service pools, Kevin. My team loves on pools. And I thought, that's strange, right? I didn't say that out loud, but I thought that's a strange way to say that. And he goes, does that sound strange to you? And I said, yeah, it actually does. And he said, well, let me tell you, when you tell a tech to service a pool, they have something in mind what that means. When you tell them to love on a pool, they have to ask you what that means. And then I tell them how I want my pool service and I want my customer service. He goes, I want that pool when you walk away to be a pool that your family, your children, your dog, whatever, you feel like it's safe for them to get in that and that you've done the right thing and it looks amazing.
It's a great marketing philosophy, you know. It's a great way to even market out to your customers instead of I'm just coming out to service your pool, that I'm going to be loving your pool. And I think that that's a whole different mindset for the customer. It sounds weird at first, but I think it's something that you can get used to hearing as soon as they know what that means. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to shift over to Riptide with Matt. Thank you, Kevin. So Matt, how do you feel that Riptide has changed people's lives?
I know that we're definitely changing people's lives. Our tool is all about everybody's tool here is all about creating efficiencies, making their life easier. I can recall several phone calls where I don't really answer the phone as much these days anymore. We're lucky now. I can focus on other things. We got a customer support team now. But I can remember personally answering a call, selling somebody a Riptide, and they would tell me like, I've been using a hose and vacuum for 20 or 25 years. But I've heard a lot of good things. I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to try your product. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And then they would call back like a week or 2 weeks later. I would recognize the name on the caller ID. I'm like, oh, what are they calling for? And it was just to thank us, which is crazy that somebody, buys a product from us that's $1,800, but they're calling to thank me that I sold them this product because it really changed their life. They want all of that time back that they can't have back anymore. 20 years, that's a lot of time. If you're going from doing, if you're doing 12 pools a day, now you're capable of doing 24. That's a lot of money you left on the table over 20 years, a lot of money. And you're never going to get it back. And that's what they want. They want that time back. And that's with everybody's product here, whether, if it's not about time savings, if it's about, you talk a lot about ergonomics, if you're using a Primate pole and it's so much lighter, nobody's getting younger. Our bodies are breaking down every day. Unfortunately, mine not so much, but
because he's the younger gentleman on the podcast instead of the older gentleman.
But you're gonna feel that 20 years, that's a lot of wear and tear on your body. And even if it's with our vacuum and just not getting down on your knees to prime a hose 20 times a day, or with the Piranha nets, if you're not having to buy new brushes and nets because they don't break down every month or two, that's also a lot of money that you saved. Same thing with Skimmer running your back end. That's again, nobody likes to do that stuff. That's not fun work. Maybe there's a few people that are really into their books and managing their company on that level. But it's not really fun. And it's, again, speeding up your process and you'll make more money. There's a tremendous amount. I talk to guys all over the country. There's a tremendous amount of growth out there, opportunity for growth. So anything you can do to maximize the efficiencies of your company will lead to, more growth, which should lead to more profit. And you don't want to leave that all on the table. I mean, it's even if you're determined that you just want to be a one pole guy. Well, now, using all of these tools, if you can do more pools, you'll make more money. Or if you don't even want to do more pools, you have more time to spend with your family and your friends. These are all things that you should be striving for to work more efficient. Because at the end of the day, that's going to lead you to more money or just more time on your hands.
Awesome.
More freedom.
Yeah. More freedom. All right. So for Eric and Jenel, how do you feel your products with Piranha Pool products has changed people's lives?
Well, I'm going to have to echo what's already been said. We've had so many people over the years come up and thank us for just making a tool that was more efficient, for a tool that lasted longer, for something that help with their carpal tunnel or their arthritis. If it makes their job easier, that's what's meaningful to us, and we hear it all the time, just like the others here have expressed with their products. And so I'm hoping that we can all, not just us here at Piranha, but that all of us can continue to really make everybody's lives easier, and make everybody more efficient in the industry, because all of our lives are in this industry, and all of our friends, really, if we think about how many people we know across the country, we're all in this together here. So that's, to me, that's been the best part, I think, is to hear that people really actually like Piranha products, and I know the others here have heard the same thing, and for good reason.
It's been so great having you guys on, and just like hearing how all of you like are totally different products, but it all meshes together so well into the tools of the modern pool professional. It's really awesome to see how totally different products, different puzzle pieces have come together today, talking to our listeners. I appreciate everything you guys do out there for our industry. And I really appreciate the time that you've taken to talk to my listeners on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Lauren, I've got a challenge for people listening to the podcast. If you've listened to all the different groups, I think what you got out of this is we're not selling you to, I don't think any of us are selling our product today. We're marketing it. We're trying to educate the market as far as what's available out there. But I do have a challenge. If you're using one of our products today, if you're using a Piranha net and you're not using Riptide or Primate or Skimmer, I'm going to challenge you to go look up at least one of them. Which one of the other tools do you think will improve your life, improve your business, right? Don't think, oh, I got to use all four of these, to get the effect. You don't. But I'm challenging you, if you're listening to this, to use one more, right? And at least go look it up, learn more about it. I guarantee you, if you're not using a Piranha net, number one, you're definitely old school, and you need to go to the Piranha Pool Tools website and watch Eric talk about his nets.
As old as we are, yeah.
That's kind of the no-brainer, right?
That's a stab at Matt there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some of us are newer in the industry, but yeah, if you're not using a Piranha net, I'm just going to say you need to use a Piranha net. Go ahead and just go get one. Okay. Get started with that. But if you haven't used a Riptide vacuum, or you haven't used a carbon fiber pole, like a Primate pole, right? And there's different types that they offer. Or if you haven't used Skimmer, what I'm challenging you to do is try one of those. I mean, even if it's just, trying a new pool vacuum. I mean, if you're out there and you're using a Hammerhead or any other version, it'll blow your mind to use a Riptide vacuum. And what you'll realize is that, as we've been saying, all of these tools not only make you look more professional, they enable you to deliver a more professional work product, but just check them out. All right. Just go research on our different websites and give us all a try. And what you're going to find is that you're going to become very addicted to this group. And the reason why is with each one you use, you get an exponential lift, right? And everything changes, not only in your business, but in your life. That's why we're together, right? We're all doing well. We're all really successful companies, and we're going to be even more successful working together like this. But really, we're using this as to really raise the awareness to people to say, I know you learned that from Lauren, and she used aluminum pole and a really bad net, and she used the homeowner's pool vacuum, and and she used pen and paper to run her business. And you can run a very profitable business doing that. I've seen many customers, they have amazing pen and paper systems, but using Skimmer, it's 10 times easier and more productive. And it's the same way with a Piranha net and a Primate pole and a Riptide pool vacuum. It's not a little bit better, it's 10 times better, right? And when you realize that and you experience it, everything is going to change. So if you're listening, you're saying, oh man, I'm too tired. I'm just going to keep doing things the way I've always done it. Well, if you keep doing things the way you've always done it, you'll keep getting the same results. And if you're saying to yourself, I want better results, you need to change today. If you're getting great results, you're leaving so much on the table, as Matt was saying, you can't even imagine. Because if you're getting great results today using pen and paper and tools that aren't Piranha, Primate, and Riptide and Skimmer, you can be 2 or 3 times as profitable.
100%.
And so just keep that in mind. It's like, well, I'm doing well. And I have people tell me that all the time. It's like, do you want to do well or you want to be outstanding? You know what the difference between well and outstanding is? 2 millimeters of change in your life. And that's what we're asking you to consider. And when you do that, we're telling you that for your own benefit. We benefit as well. And as we benefit, we'll continue to innovate and make our products better. And that's the commitment of this group. And that's why this group got together, is we're not only like-minded, we are going after like-minded customers that believe that. And so we really appreciate you having us on today. I'm honored to be on this with the Reshes and Matt and the Joes. I always call them the Joes, but Joe Sr. and Joe Jr. at Primate.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. You know, when I get up each day and you know, as Eric was saying, this is what we do to support ourselves, right? And so you better enjoy it, especially as you get a little bit older in life. And what I'll tell you is I have such a strong passion for meeting with these customers. I can't wait to go to the trade show and meet with people, right? I go back.
I'm not the only one.
I go back to the office in Austin and I'm like, why am I here? This isn't, you know, I want to be out there and visiting with the customers and finding out what's going on. I really love it. And that sounds weird, but it's true. And it's what Eric said earlier. They're amazing. They're hardworking, friendly, incredible people. They're actually a lot of fun to be around. And I hate to think of people like that not using the right tools. And so, and you know, by the way, this is a great tool as well, your podcast. And so thank you for allowing us to be on it and sharing our stories and we all taking time to do this. We're all really, really busy, but spreading this message and really getting this out into the market. And, you know, the people that are listening right now, you know who you are, right? You've been trained in an old school way, or you're really modern thinking, or you're somewhere in the middle. This is really going to be the game changer for you. And even if you don't use our products, start finding better products out there. Quit using the old school things, right? But we do have the best brands. We are the most innovative, and we're going to continue to do that. But do something better in your business, because if you're not saying to people, wow, that was a game changer for my business, or wow, you really changed my life. If you're not calling a company telling them that, you're not using the right tools. Because if you use Piranha Net, use a Primate pull, use a Riptide pull vacuum, or use Skimmer pull service software, you're going to be calling us and telling us that, because we put a lot into it and it is a game changer. It's the whole reason that we got into the business that we're in. So we look forward to you being a customer someday. And if you're thinking out there, I don't think I'll ever use those, just know that you will be a customer of all of ours someday. It's just a matter of time. Because we continue to make our products better and better all the time. And so if we're not good enough for you now, we will be in a few months, and we will be in a few years as we continue to listen to more and more customers and what they need. And that's the fun of being in this industry and of being in a group like this, is that's what we do. So thanks again.
And listeners, don't be scared of change. Change can be a good thing. It can be scary sometimes, especially when you're a business owner, to make a change. But sometimes that change could be the best thing you ever did to change your life and what you're doing, your job, which is your business. It matters for your family. It matters for you. And so the tools that you're using really is a big deal. So sometimes making that leap and that big change is scary, but go ahead and try it and see what it can do for you. So loved having you all on today. Thank you so much for being on the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. This is a really special episode today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you
You're
so
awesome.
much. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for diving in today with the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. And feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts so more aquatic professionals like you can learn about the show. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Let's Talk About Pools podcast.